Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, Shawna and back to another low-carb meal prepping video. I'm going to be taking you guys through today as I meal prep these awesome French toast muffins that I found the recipe on TikTok that were amazing, some steak and some sweet potatoes. I'm going to give you the recipes for both of those, and then this amazing chicken and rice that's probably my favorite out of all of these. It turned out so good. So let's go ahead and get started.
And since becoming a mom, it literally is like I found my purpose.
First up are these amazing keto-friendly French toast muffins that I found the recipe on TikTok. So for this recipe, I'm going to use my food processor to blend it all together, and then I'm going to use these silicone muffin things to go in my muffin pan because I just make it easy. 2 eggs, about 2 ounces of cream cheese. I had this left over in my fridge, so I'm going to just use that. I'm going to use about 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, some cinnamon, and then I'm going to use a sugar-free maple syrup that is keto friendly. Preheating my oven to 400 degrees. I'm just going to add my 2 eggs, my 2 ounces of cream cheese. It's about, and then 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Make sure you're using baking powder, not baking soda. They do different things. I'm just gonna add in a splash of cinnamon. I'm not gonna measure it, but you wanna use about 1/2 tablespoon or so. And then just a tiny bit of maple syrup. You can skip this step, or you can use vanilla extract if you have some. If I had some, I would use some of that, but I'm out, so we're using some maple syrup. Okay, and then you're just gonna blend this together. Once I was done blending everything together, I just went ahead and poured the batter into my silicone muffin cups. I filled them I ended up doing it about 3/4 the way up. Next time I would probably go ahead and fill these all the way up because they do like blow up a little bit while cooking, but then they also shrink down once they're done cooking. So I think the guy that I watched on TikTok had them all the way full. I think I would do that in the future as well. Then I'm gonna cook them in the oven for 18 minutes at 400 degrees. And this is how they turned out. They are so good, you guys. I topped mine with a little bit of this sugar-free maple syrup and then just ate them like I would normal French toast, and they tasted so good. I'm not joking, you guys. They tasted so much like real French toast. I was actually a little blown away. Even my kid, my 2-year-old, loved these as well. I've given them to him a couple days this week for breakfast, and he gobbles them up too. They're really, really good, and you definitely need to try this. If you do, tag me on Instagram over at Shawna Videos. Next up, I am quickly prepping my garlic rosemary sweet potatoes and my garlic butter steak. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you guys how I make my favorite sweet potatoes. So I'm going to take 1 large sweet potato. I'm going to take some minced garlic, some dried rosemary, some olive oil, a cookie sheet with some foil on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my garlic and rosemary sweet potatoes. Preheating my oven to 400 degrees. The first step is I am just going to peel and dice my sweet potato up. Okay, so once it's peeled, I just rinsed it off and I cut the ends off of it. And then I'm personally just going to dice this into really, really small, like bite-sized pieces. That's how I like my potatoes. You could also use this recipe and do it in fries or like wedges, whatever you prefer. gonna take some of my olive oil and I'm gonna drizzle that all over them. And then I'm gonna take some of my rosemary. I'm gonna sprinkle some of that. And this is all measurements based on taste. Just do it how you like it. I'm gonna take about that much minced garlic. I love garlic, so I'm using a good amount of garlic. And then I just decided to go ahead and put some onion powder on here. So I'm gonna sometimes I put onion powder and stuff on here, sometimes I don't. Garlic powder, I'm gonna put just a little bit of garlic powder. And then I'm gonna put some regular pepper as well. Okay, and then we're gonna mix that all up. Okay, so I can tell the olive oil wasn't quite enough to coat everything, so I'm gonna put a little bit more olive oil on here because I wanna make sure everything is really coated in olive oil and like the garlic and rosemary and the powders and everything gets spread out really evenly. Okay. Once that's done, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on the cookie sheet. All right, and then we're gonna pop these in the oven and let them cook. I'll let you know how long they ended up cooking once they're done because I don't remember how long they need to cook. So I'm gonna pop them in the oven, let them cook, and I'll let you know how long they needed. Okay, so they've been in about 20 minutes now. I am gonna take them out and just flip them over so that the other side can get a little brown too, because I can tell that that first side's already starting to get a little crispy. So I can tell they're pretty soft now, but I like mine to be just like a little, like have a crispy edge on it. So I'm gonna stick them back in the oven, probably for another 15 minutes or so. Okay, so these have been in here about 40 minutes now, and they smell delicious, and they look pretty darn good to me as well. See, I like mine to have that like crispy side. Here you go, we're just gonna let those cool, and I'm gonna show you what else I'm prepping. Okay guys, so now I'm gonna quickly show you guys how I cook my steaks. If you want a full tutorial, I did a video last week with the recipe, or sorry, on Monday, so check that out. But basically I just have my steaks here seasoned with salt and pepper. I have some olive oil and butter in a pan heating up. I'm gonna throw some garlic in here, put my steaks in, cook them for 2 to 3 minutes on either side, and then pull them out, and that's it. My biggest tip when cooking steak is to make sure the steaks are room temp. These have been sitting out about 40 minutes, and that your cast iron or skillet or whatever is warm already. This has been heating up for about 3 to 4 minutes already. Okay, so now I have some sweet potatoes that can last me 2 to 3 meals. And then I also have my steaks that will last 2 meals. And then on the side here, I did go ahead and warm up some butter. So this is just melted butter with a little bit of garlic and rosemary in it mixed in. And this will be to go on top of my steaks and my sweet potatoes. Last up, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys how I made this Italian garlic butter chicken that was amazing, and this brown rice to go with it. This is probably one of my new favorite meals. So simple, so easy, so healthy because it's just chicken and some brown rice, and yet it tasted so good and had so much flavor in it. Okay, so for this chicken recipe, I'm gonna use about 3 chicken breasts, some olive oil, salt, paprika, Italian seasoning. I'm gonna use a little bit of garlic powder, 4 tablespoons of butter, and then also some minced garlic. Starting out, I'm going to once again preheat my oven to 400 degrees. That's one good thing about this meal prep is everything's at 400 degrees. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this olive oil and I'm gonna pour just a little bit of it into my cast iron and get that heating up on my stove. Okay, so after while my cast iron's heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and season my chicken breast. I'm gonna put some paprika on them, a little bit of garlic powder, and then just salt and pepper. And do this on both sides. That is seasoned and my cast iron has gotten pretty hot. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the chicken breasts in there and I'm gonna sear them on each side for about 2 minutes. Okay, and we'll let those cook for about 2 minutes per side. Okay, while that's searing, I'm gonna go ahead and mix together my butter mixture. I have about 4 tablespoons of melted butter here. I'm just gonna throw in some garlic. I'm doing a little bit more than the recipe because I love garlic. It says 2 minced cloves. And then I'm gonna put in my Italian seasoning as well. And you can also add parsley to this if you have any, if you want. I don't have any, so I'm not going to. And I'm also going to add a little bit more of the pepper and just a tiny bit more paprika. We're gonna mix that together. And then this will be our garlic butter mixture that'll go in on the chickens when we throw them in the oven. Okay, we'll set that aside while the chicken's cooking. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over and sear the other side now as well. Okay, so I finished about 2 minutes on that side. I am going to quickly try to sear the sides of the chicken as well because I don't want them being like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my garlic butter mixture and I'm gonna pour it over the chicken. I'm gonna pop this in my oven and let it cook for 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so while the chicken's cooking, we're gonna get some rice ready. I'm gonna be using this minute brown rice. I'm using brown rice because I am trying to stay lower carb and brown rice is just healthier for you, but I like the minute rice just because it's easier, so I'm gonna be using that. But I'm gonna be making it like a garlic butter rice. So I have a saucepan here on the stove. It is warming up a little bit. And then I'm going to take about that much butter, not a lot. It's just a tiny bit of butter. And I'm gonna throw that in the pan, let that melt. And then I'm gonna saute in a little bit of garlic with it as well. Just a little bit of minced garlic. We'll let that heat up and I saute for a minute. And then I'll add in my rice, and I'm gonna be cooking my rice in chicken broth. This is the chicken broth I am gonna be using. Like I said, I'm just kind of cooking the butter and garlic here for a second. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add in my rice. I'm just gonna follow the directions. I'm doing 2 cups of rice for 2 cups of chicken broth. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rice first. And then I'm gonna mix the rice with the garlic and the butter real quick and just kind of coat the rice in that garlic butter mixture. This just helps add the flavor to the rice. And this is all on a hot pan. The pan is still turned on and cooking. Okay, So once I kind of have that all coated with the butter mixture, I'm gonna go ahead and pour in my chicken broth. Like I said, I just followed the instructions. I'm doing 2 cups of chicken broth for 2 cups of rice. Okay, I'm gonna wait until that comes to a boil. You know what? I'm gonna throw a little bit of the Italian seasoning in there as well. Just a little. Another thing I love to add to my rice is if you have that like onion soup mixture, you like the powdered kind, the Lipton onion soup powder, it's really good to add into rice. I love adding that to rice as well. All right, we're just gonna let that come to a boil. Okay, so now that my rice has started to boil, I am just going to reduce the heat to like medium low. And then I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna let that simmer for 10 minutes, which just happens to be exactly how much time is left on my chicken. Okay, so my timer just went off. I just turned my rice off. It is pretty much done. I'm gonna leave it covered and just remove it from the heat though. And then let's pull the chicken out and see how it looks. Looks pretty tasty to me. So I'll have the chicken with the rice as a meal a few days this week, and then I'll just cook. I have some fresh asparagus I can whip up within a couple minutes, or some green beans, or just some sort of vegetable, maybe a salad or something on the side. I'll eat this for either dinner or lunches some days this week. It looks pretty good to me. Okay guys, so this is my low-carb meal prep that I did for this week. I have the French toast muffins for breakfast. I've already eaten a few of them, sorry. But I have the French toast muffins for breakfast. I have a steak and sweet potatoes that I can have for lunch or dinner. And then the chicken with the brown rice that I can also have for lunch and dinner. I also have lots of carrots and broccoli and fresh vegetables in the fridge, asparagus, green beans, things like that, as well as some fruit to satisfy my sweet tooth, like apples and things like that. So that is my meal prep for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. Bye y'all.